I think I've found definitely what is going to be the title for this video series is everything that is wrong with my car after having another mechanic work on it, because I just keep finding stuff like this, the hose clamp on the main boost, the hose clamp on the diverter valve. I don't know why they took that off, but I mean, all sorts of stuff is just not back where it is supposed to be. And I'm looking at the valve cover here, and this valve cover looks like it's got the same markings. So I'm going to go back and check some of my pictures, but I think they reused the valve cover. Now look at this. They broke the connector to one of the coils. So that's going to have to get replaced. I keep finding things the more I dig into this. So yeah, everything that's wrong with our Jetta after having another mechanic work on it. Fun. And we have solved our mystery as to why there is no AC. I am guessing that as part of removing the motor, he evacuated all the refrigerant out of the system in order to safely do that, and then never put any refrigerant back into the system. It is completely empty, nothing. So that means that I'm going to need to A, pressure test it, B, vacuum test it, make sure that it's actually holding air, that he actually sealed everything up the way it's supposed to, and then, well, put it under vacuum till it's a perfect system vacuum, and then get all the humidity out of the system, and then recharge it. So a little bit of process, but now we know that it's purely a refrigerant issue. Making progress. Here we are. It's actually day 3 of repairing the car that was supposed to be repaired already. Yeah. Things the mechanic broke while fixing my car. Anyway, so here's the update. I have replaced several of these secondary air injection hoses, including the one that goes to the combi valve back there. Put in a new O-ring in the coolant pipe flange that is underneath there. We had to get a new clip for the breather hose that is down inside there. That was a royal pain to get to without having to remove everything, but we got it done. That is in there. Had to replace the connector that runs along here. There's actually, instead of a hose going directly into the radiator, it's a plastic 90-degree elbow intermediate connector, and that the O-ring had been leaking, so I can't really blame that on the other mechanic other than he didn't notice it when he filled it up with the wrong coolant and it was leaking out of there. So that's replaced. Flushed all the old bad coolant out of here, and now we are going to fill up the proper G13 coolant in here. It says G12, but they're updated, so G13. And then we are going to recharge the AC. I've already put the system under a vacuum. It held vacuum really nicely. I started to pre-charge it just a little bit so there's enough to start the system. You don't want to add too much refrigerant before you actually run it through, because it will build up too much head pressure right before the compressor, and that'll blow your compressor. But you want there to be just enough so that when you start it, it'll start accepting a charge. So we're gonna get that going. But right now, I'm gonna put some coolant in, fire it up, and move forward. Make sure there's no leaks.
Minutes later.
Well, she's running, and I've been purging the air out of the system. It seems there was some leftover green stuff that is mixed with the pink stuff and made it kind of this purple, so that's fun, which means I'll probably have to drain all of this again just to flush out all of that stuff, but it's up and running, and I'm gonna go take it for a quick spin and just see how she does. So also, let's see, all right, so it seems that thermostat's working, sucking stuff down in there, achieving proper levels, pressure, that's good. Go ahead and turn this on and see if we have any love with the AC. All right, the AC compressor's engaged, that's good. So let's go take her for a spin to see how she does. Interesting thing about having a GLS Jetta of this generation is the dash cluster is missing the very helpful MFA display that most Volkswagens had from, I don't know, roughly the late 80s. There's normally a computer thing that you can click through and it'll show you oil temperature and all sorts of useful information, but this one has a really dumb display on it that only shows the coolant temperature, and it's conditioned, which means it doesn't show the actual coolant temperature. I guess Volkswagen got tired of customers worrying about how hot they can run and seeing the needle go up really high on the gauge. So they changed it such that the gauge will just show straight up and down in the middle of the indicator. It shows 190 degrees, regardless of what the actual temperature is. So if the temperature is anything from, I think, 170 to 230, it just stays straight up and down at 190. That's how they all are for the Mark IV generation, unless you reprogram it to show the actual temperature. So as far as this temperature gauge goes, it says we are up to temperature, up to full running speed. We're gonna just drive it a little ways down the road, make sure that we shake it around a little bit, and I've already done what I can as far as burping the air out of the system, taking it down, putting some fuel in the car, driving it back, letting it cool down, and then we'll repeat the process just to make sure there's no air left in the coolant system. But I think we're in decent shape now at this point. The motor's running smoothly, no check engine light, didn't make any weird noises when I started it up. When I first started it up, when we got it back, the secondary air injection pump was just screaming because it was completely unattached on both sides, which is a pretty big oversight here in California if you're a mechanic working on cars. Anyway, fortunately, being a person who has lots of parts that I keep on hand for repairing said vehicles, I had what I needed other than a clip and an O-ring, and those came today, so those are installed. Hopefully, now that we're all up to temperature, I won't have any coolant leaks, and we will have more or less the full restored use of our family car, although the AC system is still not working. I've got it at its coolest setting and there's nothing happening here. So I may have to vacuum out the system again and perhaps let a shop do it and get it tidied up the way it's supposed to be. Well, we survived the maiden voyage after double checking everything, and let's just see. I'm pretty sure no coolant leaks. She's running well. No check engine light yet. Knock on carbon fiber, because, you know, Volkswagen. But also no AC yet, so I'm gonna dive a little bit more into that. What I was seeing on my gauges as I was adding refrigerant is the head pressure was not coming up to where it really needs to be. So I'm wondering if the compressor itself is not good. So we shall see. But it's a running car. It's back on the road. Obviously, a lot of work left to do. We are still going to deal with this. We are still going to deal with the mismatched reflector, change out the suspension, the wheels and tires. So a bit more work to do on this, but she's on the road, so yay. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. God bless. Bye-bye.
And on that terrible disappointment, it's time to say goodbye. We'll be back.